We're going to be reading a lot in this video. Yeah. I said, let me give you heads up. So Numbers chapter 14 from verse 11 to 20. This was a part in the Bible after Moses had sent 12 spies to go and explore the land of Canaan. So they went there and they came back discouraged because they saw that the people of Canaan were a lot and that there were giants there and all of that. And so they came back sad and discouraged, except for Joshua and Caleb. So they came back and discouraged the Israelites. And then the people of Israel rebelled. They cried out loud that, oh my God, why? Why us? Do you want to kill all of us? What did we do? And then they rebelled. They were even talking about stoning Joshua and Caleb because it was only Joshua and Caleb that were speaking good, saying that God is going to give it to us. God is faithful. Is he not the one that brought us here? He said he's going to back us. They didn't want to hear that type of thing. So they wanted to stone Caleb and Joshua, and God was angry. So let me quickly read from verse 11. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people treat me with contempt? Will they never believe me? Even after all the miraculous signs I've done among them, I will disown them and destroy them with a plague. Then I will make you into a nation greater and mightier than they are. After God said this to Moses, what did Moses do? From verse 13. But Moses objected. What will the Egyptians think when they hear about it? He asked the Lord. They know full well the power you displayed in rescuing your people from Egypt. Now, if you destroy them, the Egyptians will send a report to the inhabitants of this land who have already heard that you live among your people. They know, Lord, that you have appeared to your people face to face and that your pillar of cloud hovers over them. They know that you go before them in the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. Now, if you slaughter all these people with a single blow, the nations that have heard of your fame will say the Lord was not able to bring them into the land he swore to give them, so he killed them in the wilderness. Please, Lord, prove that your power is as great as you have claimed. For you said, the Lord is slow to anger and filled with unfailing love, forgiving every kind of sin and rebellion, but he does not excuse the guilty. He lays the sins of the parents upon their children. The entire family is affected, even children in the third and fourth generations. In keeping with your magnificent unfailing love, please pardon the sins of these people, just as you have forgiven them ever since they left Egypt. Verse 20. Then the Lord said, I will pardon them as you have requested. But as surely as I live, and as surely as the earth is filled with the Lord's glory, not one of these people will enter that land. They have seen all my glorious presence and the miraculous signs I performed both in Egypt and in the wilderness. But again and again, they have tested me by refusing to listen to my voice. They will never even see the land I swore to give to their ancestors. None of those who have treated me with contempt will ever see it. But my servant Caleb has a different attitude than the others have. He has remained loyal to me, so I will bring him into the land he explored, and his descendants will possess their full share of that land. Now, turn around and don't go on toward the land where the Amalekites and Canaanites live. Tomorrow, you must set out for the wilderness in the direction of the Red Sea. That's what happened. I want to point out two lessons from where we just read. Number one lesson is that the first assignment of a prophet is intercession. If you didn't know that, know it now. As a prophet, when God reveals anything to you about a people or somebody or a country or a family or whatever, your first assignment is to intercede for them before you now tell them that this is what the Lord said. We see this in the way Moses handled the messages that God gave to him in the Bible. Every time that God appeared to Moses angry with the Israelites, determined to destroy them, this part didn't even mention how Moses used to fall flat. A lot of places in the Bible, it will mention that Moses will fall down flat, lay down flat before God, begging him to have mercy on the Israelites. So this part now, Moses interceded immediately. Look at what he said to God. Look at the things he said to God. We have to learn from this prayer that Moses prayed. He told God, what would the Egyptians say when they hear about it? Remember, you went and rescued the Israelites from the land of the Egyptians, and then you will now bring them here and destroy them. Then the Egyptians will now spread the news that you have destroyed your people. Have mercy, Lord. Have mercy. He didn't even just say all that. He even prayed God's word back to him, because remember that God came to him in the book of Exodus. God revealed himself to him in the book of Exodus and then said certain things to him about his nature, about his character. Moses, You see this prayer that Moses prayed, there's a lot to learn from it. You don't just pray anyhow, just open your mouth and talk because you know how to talk. You have to know the words to say to touch the heart of God. You have to know the right words to use. In this case, Moses prayed God's word back to him. Let's go to the book of Exodus. I said we are going to be reading a lot, didn't I? So Exodus chapter 34, let's read the part where God came down in a cloud and revealed himself to Moses and spoke to him. Exodus chapter 34 from verse 5. Then the Lord came down in a cloud and stood there with him and called out his own name, Yahweh. The Lord passed in front of Moses, calling out, Yahweh, the Lord, the God of compassion and mercy. I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. I forgive iniquity, rebellion, and sin, but I do not excuse the guilty. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children and grandchildren. The entire family is affected, even children in the third and fourth generations. Now let's go back to where we just read in Numbers chapter 14. From verse 17, in the prayer that Moses said, please, Lord, prove that your power is as great as you have claimed. For you said, the Lord is slow to anger and filled with unfailing love, forgiving every kind of sin and rebellion. He brought God's word back to him. This is how we should be praying. If God has said something directly to you, or through a pastor to you, or through his word to you, when you are praying, use those words and pray. Remind him of his words. That is one of the ways you move the heart of God. That's the second thing I wanted to point out in this video. Remember that the first thing was that the first assignment of a prophet is intercession. Now, secondly, pray strategic prayers. When you're talking to God, don't just talk anyhow. Praying his word back to him is one way of not praying amiss. Let me show you another place where Moses prayed strategic prayer. In Exodus chapter 30, after the Israelites and Aaron built golden calf, and then God was angry and told Moses to come out. I'm going to destroy them. Leave me alone. Let my fierce anger blaze against them. I'm going to destroy them, and I will make you, Moses, into a great nation. First thing Moses did again here, intercession. Moses tried to pacify the Lord his God. Reading 11 now. But Moses tried to pacify the Lord his God. Oh Lord, he said, why are you so angry with your own people, whom you brought from the land of Egypt with such great power and such a strong hand? Why let the Egyptians say their God rescued them with the evil intention of slaughtering them in the mountains and wiping them from the face of the earth? Turn away from your fierce anger. Change your mind about this terrible disaster you have threatened against your people. Remember your servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You bound yourself with an oath to them, saying, I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven, and I will give them all of this land that I have promised to your descendants, and they will possess it forever. Verse 14 says, so the Lord changed his mind about the terrible disaster he had threatened to bring on his people. I like Moses. Moses was wise. Moses knew how to talk to God. You see what he did here again? He told God again that if you destroy them, the Egyptians will laugh. The Egyptians will say that you brought them out of their land with the evil intention of killing them in the mountains. Not only that, he also told God that, remember what you promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, give it to Moses. He knows how to pray strategic prayers. Remember what you promised. Remember what you promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that you are going to make them into a great nation. So in other words, he's saying that, God, if you destroy them, how will your promise come to pass? You told their fathers that you will make their descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven. If you now come and destroy them with your anger, how will they become numerous? When God heard Moses pray like this, he calmed down. Obutsuo. And then he changed his mind about the disaster he threatened to bring upon the Israelites. So remember, 2 lessons. If God shows you anything about anybody or any group or anything at all, your first assignment is to intercede on their behalf. That is what you should do. That is one of the reasons why he showed it to you. Then after interceding, you can then inform them of what you saw. Secondly, when praying to God, pray strategic prayers. Pray God's word back to him. Remind God of his promises while you pray. That is one way that you are guaranteed to get results from God. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay blessed and see you in the next one. Bye.